In the previous video, we tested out how good it is against the super heavies in a defense mode, and it's pretty good. So I'm just as curious to see how it's going to perform in the air. So what we're going to do, guys, is we are going to do the same thing we've been doing now. We're going to be testing. I'm going to be using a defensive kind of plane for now, just to see a bit of a difference on how it manages to tackle that. And then we are also going to be doing, obviously, a testing with bombers. We're going to get the bomber to sort of attack it and see if there's a difference when using the new officer compared to the older officer. So the first point of action, guys, is going to be to use the older combination. We don't want to be starting off with a new one. We want to see what the old one was and how well it performed. And as we know, it was pretty decent. So what we are going to do here, guys, is we are going to go through and we're going to do the test of the previous best option available when it came to the ATG and kind of see how it performs when trying to take out the air unit. So we are going to quite simply put this here and we are going to activate it to be able to do the attack and see how long it lasts. So starting off, obviously, I generally don't know when it comes to, obviously, the air units, how long it's going to take just for, you know, just sit there and be attacked. As we know, most people will move their plane out of the way. They won't just leave it there unattended. But let's just kind of get a gauge to see how long it takes to completely remove this unit. I'm guessing it's probably going to be around that sort of 1 minute mark. You know, even now, it's still getting in quite a decent amount of shots off. But yeah, I reckon around 1 minute to take this out. Again, this is a full defense plane. If you was to somehow lock onto an offense plane or even a bomber, this is going to do a lot more difference. I think that we will still be able to see the difference when it comes to, you know, the different officers and how long they take. So let's speed forward and I'll be back with you with the results in a second. The results came in kind of identical to what I said it was going to be. It's around 1 minute. The first one here came through at 1 minute 16 seconds was how long, obviously, we was in a fight for. And the second one was 1 minute 8 seconds. So basically just one skill shot less. Now, obviously, we go over to this account here and we have a look at the report of how long we were attacking for. It says 1 minute 22 and the other one says 1 minute 30 because obviously there is a time delay in the difference there. But around that sort of 1 minute time is how long it originally takes. So let's do the same thing again, but of course, we are going to be changing it up. This time, guys, we are using the brand new officer combination. We have obviously got here the Steel Angel with the new Tactician. Now, do I think we'll see a massive difference here? I'm generally not too sure. Obviously, there is a lot of similar situations, whereas with Lady Shadow, you actually have a lot more offensive ability when in the field, and this is obviously in the field. So I feel like they might be very similar, but again, having that extra coefficient of 800 coming in potentially every 4 seconds could really, really help. Obviously, I'm not 100% sure. If we take a look at the armor, now I don't know how much armor this unit has. I don't even know if it has any. Yeah, it's not actually saying any millimeter thickness of armor, so I'm assuming this won't really give anything extra, meaning it is just going to be sort of the core standard ability of her 2000 coefficient. I don't think the armor thickness is really going to take effect, but the normal shot increase, the penetration, again, does penetration count towards planes? I'm not too sure. Obviously, the ATG is one of the very few units that can attack from ground to air. But overall, I feel like it feels similar in time here. That felt like it took the same amount of time. So I think from that perspective, it's nothing new and special. But of course, we're going to do a second test through here, and then we'll come back with the results afterwards. So here we have it, guys. The results have come in now for the second attack. So the first one, as we said, was 1 minute 16. The second one was 1 minute 8. Pretty decent. Then moving on, we had obviously changed it into the new officer with steel, and it came in at 1 minute 32 and 1 minute 24. So again, honestly, in my opinion, it makes sense kind of because obviously Lady Shadow does have a lot of extra bonuses when she's out of the actual defensive mode. And we are going to now test to see when you put the both of them together, because as we know, the Steel Angel actually has more benefits when in garrison, which means she's actually losing out on quite a lot of stuff here whenever she comes out of the base. So let's see what the two offensive people outside of the base are going to be like when it comes to the fighter. In my personal opinion, I do think it's going to end up being a little bit similar to the first one, but I do think it will be a little bit better overall. So let's quickly get that tested out here. We're going to do the first attack right now. And as I said, I think from the point of view as, you know, Steel Angel does lose quite a decent amount of damage when she is outside of the base compared to when she's inside of the base. So I do feel like that would make a big difference. This officer, the new Tactician, is designed to be sort of countering bombers a little bit. So I feel like it has potential, especially here paired up with Lady Shadow, who is already, as we know, one of the strongest officers when it comes to attacking units. Just absolutely a menace when it comes to that normal shot of damage. So overall, guys, I do, just by looking at it here, feel like it's going to be around that sort of 1 minute mark. But we'll come back with both of the results here in a second once we have done multiple attacks to make sure we get a bit of an average. So here we go, guys. The results are in, and let's start off again once more with the fighter planes down here and what we started on. So the very first one was obviously Steel Angel with Lady Shadow, and that came in at 1 minute 16. We then had the same results at 1 minute 8 seconds. Now moving on to the next combination, we had Steel Angel with the new Tactician, and it came at 1 minute 32. Not surprising. And the second one, 1 minute 24. Now we have done another test here with Lady Shadow and the new Tactician, removing the more defense officer, which is Steel Angel, and kind of seeing what we get. So the first one was exactly 1 minute, which is honestly really good. And the second one came in at 1 minute 1 second. So instantly much better than before. And honestly, I'm really impressed to see obviously how good this could be when attacking bombers. Now, you do need to take into account, guys, that this is when attacking a defensive plane. Yes, both officers don't have obviously skill training, but again, it is a defense plane, which means it's going to be surviving a lot longer than the average other plane that's either offensive or a bomber or something like that, meaning you are going to be doing a lot more damage there. So now moving on to the bomber, guys, what we're going to do, we're going to be doing 2 different tests. Now, the first test is going to be simple. I'm going to bomb this ATG. I'm going to do 1 single attack, and then we're going to pull back. Now, the reason for that is we're going to just see how much it does from just that 1 initial burst. And then as soon as we can get that pullback here, we will. So we managed to obviously get back there unharmed. We lost 1 unit. But overall, we're going to kind of see this or damage it came through with the test. Now, we're going to do this test twice, and we'll be back with you with the results at the end. So here it is, guys. The results are in. Now, on the very first attack here, you can see that we done 22.2 million damage. And obviously we took 20 million damage as well. And on the second one, we done exactly the same, 22.2 million damage from that 1 first initial strike. So is it going to be any different than if we have obviously the more defensive officer terrain tactician? So does that extra 40% damage resist really make a massive difference when being bombed? Let's find out on this first attack. So again, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be doing 2 bombs. We're just going to go in, hit 1 bomb, and then we're going to hit another bomb. And just by looking at it, it already looks a massive improvement. But let's do the second one and get to the results. So here we are, guys. The results are in. And now on the very first time we done it, we'd managed to do 22.2 seconds on both attacks. And on the second attack, when we changed it around to have the new Tactician officer, the bomber only dealt 15.6 mil on both attacks, meaning that 40% is honestly a huge improvement to the protection. Now, of course, the officers we had on there was still with the new Tactician, and we had still with Lady Shadow on the first time. So we've removed still this time, the same as what we did before, and we're now doing Lady Shadow and Tactician to just see how good this combination is going to be. Again, I'm not too sure if we're going to see much of a crazy difference. Yes, there does seem to be obviously a lot more offensive power with this officer, but no defense. So I do feel like we might see a little bit more damage increase, but there is no more protection increase from this. It is going to be just more on that offensive side of things, because if I'm not mistaken, there really isn't much in the form of defense for this officer either, meaning it is just going to be all down to Tactician when it comes to that defensive capability. So if we just go through now, we'll do the same as before. We'll just do 1 attack, see how much goes through. And if I'm honest with you, as I said, I feel like it's going to be similar. Yeah, I mean, if anything, that was probably better than before. But I'm really happy with that combination there. Definitely seem to be withstanding just as much. So overall, I do believe that obviously this is going to be a much better option when coming to attack fighters. But one thing we are going to check as well is the bomber from the Liberty. Now, as we know, the Liberty bomber can do a decent bit of damage onto ATGs. Not crazy damage. Normally, it takes 2 or 3 runs to even attack and do a decent amount. But with this new officer, is it going to really make a big difference there from that version? Because again, we are using the Vanguard bomber right now, and as we know, the Vanguard bomber does mitigate and completely ignore the defensive capabilities of that ATG in AA mode. So with that stacked up on the new one, how is it going to perform against Liberty Bomber? But first, we need to do one more attack with this combination, and then we'll check out the results. So here it is, guys. The final results are in for that bombing test. So let's just recap over the first one. It was 22.2 mil. Then it was 15.6 mil. Let's have a look to see what it was in here. It was also 15.6. So obviously, there wasn't really much difference there with the damage, because Steel and Lady Shadow don't have any difference when it comes to that protection. They're all just different when it comes to the offense. So, of course, when you see here, we've got 12.5 mil damage taken, 21.6. It's going to be kind of the same, 11.8, you know, 19.5. So, Lady Shadow along there with, obviously, the new Tactician definitely does a little bit more output of damage. And as we know from other testings, the speed in which it takes to obviously kill the fighter planes, we already know the best combination there, which is obviously Lady Shadow with the new Tactician. So final test we're going to be doing is basically the exact same what we've already done, except this time when deploying the ATG, we will be bombing the ATG with a Liberty Bomber, just to see, you know, the difference in the damage taken there. So what we're going to do, guys, with the bomber is we're actually going to send the fighter plane out first, and then actually send in the bomber afterwards. So here it is. We're going to distract obviously the fighter there, and we are then going to deploy the bomber on to see how much damage that bomber does. Now, of course, we will pull back. We're going to do 2 bombing runs here so that we can obviously try and see if it's going to get any damage. And in fact, I think we're just going to do the full bombing run, because as you can tell, it is taking a lot to actually do some damage here, and it might even take all 4 of the bombing runs to even kill once over here. And yes, it did take all 4 to get that damage in. So yeah, in my opinion, maybe we'll see that all 4 of those bombing runs might actually get protected, again, not lose any units when we have this other combination on. So let's obviously take this back, and we will see again. Obviously, we're going to do each test twice, and we'll be back with the results. As we can see here, guys, the results are in. Now, for the first one, we had a damage taken of 14.4 million. Of course, this is going to be a lot less with this unit when against a Liberty plane, because obviously they don't ignore that mitigation. And then on the second attack, it was also, well, 13.9. We did lose 24 total units both times. So, of course, we're now going to do this same test again. This time, though, we have got the new Tactician. Now, obviously, we have done multiple tests already, and we have confirmed that, you know, the difference between Lady Shadow and the difference between Steel is very negligible. So we are obviously mainly focusing right now on the Tactician. So again, we are going to do the bombing run here and see if it manages to survive and basically not lose any of its units, because in that first one, it basically lost a little bit. So let's go through here and send that bomber in and just see whether or not it manages to survive and not lose a single unit. Now, I think it's possible. I do think after all 4 of these bombing runs go through, it is highly possible that we don't lose a unit. We might end up still losing some, but I don't know. It's going to be a very, very close one, because again, that 40% is a lot of difference, especially coming through here on the bombing runs. Now, it's 29, which means I do believe it lost some, but I don't think it's maybe like 12 units. I don't know if it lost all 24, but we shall see here in a second. We're going to go do another bomb run as well, and we'll be back with the results. So here it is, guys. The results are finally in. So let's just update ourselves. It was 13.9 mil before. Let's have a look at the new result here. 11.4. Obviously, again, it is still a difference and a bit of a change. We did lose 24 still, though, but it didn't happen until on that very final bombing run that came through. Obviously, again, 11.4 on this one versus the 13.9. What do you think of these results? What do you think of the brand new officer terrain Tactician? As I said, we've already done the video previously where we done the ATG in a defensive mode against a super heavy, and she proved massively helpful, and again also proving much more beneficial here in the field as well when it comes to attacking. So let me know, what do you think? Is this officer someone you're going to be getting? And if so, who are you going to be pairing it with? I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning into today's video. If it did help, think about sharing it to other people to help them out as well. Hope you all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.